Okay, welcome to Lesson 3, Part 2 of Unit 7, Rotations. So here we're going to formalize the rotations you looked at in Part 1 video. To define a rotation, it's a turn about a fixed point. And the center of rotation is what that fixed point is called. And the point that we're always going to use is 0, 0, the origin of graphs. And rotations can either be counterclockwise or clockwise. Normally you'll see them as counterclockwise unless specifically stated that they're clockwise. And what I have listed here is the way that you'll normally see a rotation written. You'll see capital R and 90. If you see capital R 90, that's 90 degrees counterclockwise. Capital R 180 means it's rotated 180. R 270 means it's a 270 counter. You see R negative 270, that means clockwise 270. R 180 is a rotation of 180. If you remember from the first video, it doesn't matter which way you go for 180 degrees. And then an R negative 90 means a 90 degree clockwise rotation. And these are actually paired up and in order. R90 and R negative 270 are the same type of rotation. R180 and R180 are the same. And R270 and R negative 90 are the same rotation. So let's look at some rules that work with them. This is the 90 degree counterclockwise or the 270 clockwise. Up here at the rule, if we have our original point at XY and we go to our image, the rule that happens is we switch the places of X and Y, so X and Y switch places, and we change the sign of Y. So there's two things. They switch places and then Y gets a new sign. So for this first one, we're going to go from A to A prime. And A prime is going to be, we're going to switch the two around, so it's 1, 2, and then my new first coordinate is the opposite. So if it was a 1 up here, it's a negative 1 down here. So I want you to go ahead, pause the video, and try this transformation for example 2 with your group. Alright, so we're going to, for B prime, we're going to switch the places and change the sign of the Y coordinate. So the Y coordinate was 4, so it becomes a negative 4, and my X coordinate just comes over here and becomes the Y coordinate. That's a 90 degree counterclockwise, 270 clockwise. The next type is the 180 degree counterclockwise or clockwise. And again, it does not matter how you say it. If you just say 180 degree rotation, it can mean either one of them. So the rule for this is we start with our XY, and then all that happens is they become opposites. They don't switch places, they just change signs. So our X becomes the opposite of X and our Y becomes the opposite of Y. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video and with your group work through these two examples. Go ahead and do that now. Alright, so this first point, there's the original. The image is going to look like negative 5, negative 7. And then for 2, we have our original, and then our image is going to look like 2, 6. So they just change signs. Okay, now for the last type of rotation that we're going to talk about, a 270 counterclockwise, or it's the same thing as 90 degrees clockwise. So our rule, we have our original at XY. For the image, our X and Y are going to switch places, and our X coordinate becomes the opposite of what it originally was. So it's kind of like the opposite of what happened with a 90 degree counterclockwise. So, I want you to go ahead and perform this transformation on these two examples by pausing the video and working it out with your group. Alright, so the first one, they're going to switch places, and then my second one's going to become the opposite. Example 2 becomes -2, and that 4 changes signs and becomes a -4. Now you'll notice that we didn't do a 360-degree rotation. Well, the reason being, if you rotate something 360 degrees, you're right back to your original. So there really is no need to explain or go too deep into that.